With great pleasure, I want to welcome to the show the one and only Layne, Layne Norton.
Hey Matthew, how you doing, man? Nice to be here.
Hey, you too, man. Glad to be on the show today, bud. You're one busy guy. You're always traveling, seminars, Facebook. So you got products coming out. You've been in the industry now for I think over 15, 20 years, Layne, isn't it?
15. Yeah,
15. Let's not go
Not
too
quite
long.
not quite that old yet. Soon.
You're coming to 2 decades pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome stuff, man. So most people don't realize, how hard you work and how much time you put into what you do. And, you're 35 years old. You're going, the stuff you've accomplished at 35 is quite extraordinary, to be honest.
Thank you.
In the natural bodybuilding world, you're just an iconic figure in what we would consider as, at 35, you're doing things most guys aren't doing at 60 years old. Have accomplished what you've accomplished. So from that being said, Layne, do you mind sharing a bit about your background story of what really got you into the sport and what drove you to do what you're doing today?
I started lifting weights when I was about 15 years old because I got picked on a lot and didn't get much attention from girls. So it turns out lifting weights didn't really solve either of those problems, but it did give me more confidence, and I grew to love lifting weights just for the sake of lifting weights. And I was always a very competitive person and played baseball. And once high school was over and baseball had kind of run its course, I knew I could have gone and walked on at a small college, but that wasn't an interest of mine. I just decided, I loved lifting weights. And so what was the next progression of being competitive with that was bodybuilding. So I started working towards a bodybuilding competition, and I had heard whispers of this guy in my area, Dr. Joe, of being a prep coach, and I didn't even know there was natural bodybuilding. I just assumed all bodybuilding was natural, And then when I found out, it turns out a lot of these guys are on steroids, I just felt like, well, I don't want to take steroids, so I'd like to compete in a drug-tested show. And Dr. Joe was promoting his first show, the INBF Mid-America Muscle Classic in Evansville. And that was in 2001, and that was my first show. And Joe spent the last 4 weeks prepping me. And I remember going to meet with him and sitting in his office, and he's telling me, what we're going to do and all this stuff. And I remember thinking, this guy has the coolest job in the world. I kind of blurted out, I'm like, I want to do what you do. And he said at the time, he was thinking, yeah, right, kid. And, he knew what he went through to get his doctorate and all those sorts of things. And but he's like, by God, you went out and did it. So that was kind of, I did that show, won the team class. And that was kind of the inception. That was kind of the start. And, I knew I wanted to make a living in the fitness industry. I wanted to be part of it. I had no idea how. People, when I started, they said, you're out of your mind. You can't make money at this. Nobody's ever going to care about a drug-free guy. Because this is when most people didn't even know natural bodybuilding existed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, well, maybe that's true, but I won't know if I don't try. So, and I never made money from competing. My pro show, I won the heavyweight class, and I won $1,000, so that's cool. I can actually say I won money in bodybuilding and powerlifting, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I don't know many people that can say that. But, I didn't make money from competing, but I made money in the industry and around it. And, most IFBB pros don't even make money from competing. It's all the other stuff. It's the sponsorships and guest posing and all that kind of stuff. So, I just put in my mind that was what I was going to do. And as along the way, I wanted to get more educated, and that was where the PhD came in. And I wanted to try other things like powerlifting. Ooh, pardon me, tired. It was just always about pushing myself and seeing how far I could take something.
Impressive. At 35, Layne, you've been at this you started bodybuilding when you were 20 years old, I guess, right? 20?
19, yeah, my
19,
first year.
man. Yeah, you've come a long ways. How old were you when you were doing your PhD?
That was age 22 to 28.
Wow, that was six years, eh? 6, 7 years.
Hmm.
Wow, that's incredible. And that was all like that was just through the inspiration of having that chat with once Joe was like, yeah, you do what you do, and all of a sudden you're going out there and like, I'm just gonna do what you do and go forward, eh?
Yeah, I mean, at the time he worked with he worked with some people online, but it's mostly in person. I think I was one of the guys, and along with Joe, who first started really popularizing online coaching, and now it's so established, nobody even thinks twice about it. But when I started, almost nobody did it, and
Wow.
it was, people, I had to convince people that I could do this online, so yeah, it's interesting how everything shakes out.
I want to kind of dive into your mental game, Layne, because most people always hear about your nutrition, your training. You're the a guru in that field. Like you know a lot, you know so much in that field. So going back to the resilience you have, the mental game you have, and I know I believe you were injured here recently, like a year or two ago. I think it was. You had a back injury, right?
Multiple things, yeah.
Yeah.
I I just kind of struggled a little bit with a bulging disc on and off all of 2015.
Okay.
It would kind of come up here and there, but I was able to compete at Worlds and did well, and then win nationals again in fall. And then in January of 2016, I suffered a hip injury squatting, and then I suffered a cervical spine injury as well, like in my neck. And I think that's an old injury from rugby, playing rugby in college.
Wow.
And I lost about 100 pounds off my bench. Like I just got very weak on this side, and that was at the same time as the hip. That caused me to withdraw from Worlds. I couldn't. The hip injury was bad enough that I couldn't squat at all. And then I started rehabbing that with a physical therapist here named Jamie Alumbra. She was amazing. She got me healed faster than I ever thought I would. And I was almost back to full strength. And then I suffered a lower back injury where I bulged a disc. And my MRI showed another herniated disc, but I think it was old because it had healed.
Yeah.
But that was a debilitating injury. I mean, I was on my floor pretty much for better part of a week and a half.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And couldn't do anything. Couldn't even standing up was just a nightmare. But just kept rehabbing that, and am now back in the 400 squatting and on my way to 500. Unfortunately, my neck has acted up again, so that was recent. That was in the last 2 weeks, and it's just. I think that I can either get discouraged and say I'm injury prone and it's not going to happen, or I can just keep working and figure out different strategies to alleviate these problems and, just see what happens. I'm not willing to give up on it yet.
So when you look at that, when those things happen to you, Layne, and that process, when you go through those challenges, what is the mental trigger point for you? Like, do you just, whatever it takes, I'm going to get it done? What do you go through? Because some guys get like in these slumps, right? You're not one of those guys. You're the guy that's up there kicking ass and, getting things done, right?
I'm not going to tell you I never have a negative thought in my mind.
Yeah, that's not going that's going too far, man.
That's, I tell people like, I have the same negative thoughts enter my mind that enters anybody else's mind.
Yeah.
I can just choose to not believe those thoughts.
Correct.
I can choose to say, no, I believe the positive stuff. I don't believe this. And I think I'm pretty mentally tough. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And yeah, I can just choose what I want to believe, and I don't have to somebody else's opinion about me being old or me being, at the end of my competitive career for powerlifting or whatever it is. That's their opinion. That's fine. I don't believe that. So yeah, I can choose not to believe it.
But you're always redefining yourself, and what you do and your passion, like not just as a bodybuilder, but you created Carbon, you are very successful online with coaching. You probably get more inquiries you can even handle on that aspect of the game. Plus you've been writing for I don't know how many years and a PhD. So how do you keep redefining yourself? Like what drives you to do that? Because there's one quote I saw on your Facebook page. I forget what it said, but you have it in a few places on your website, your Facebook page. I freaking love that quote. Something about you pushing or doing more than you're capable of doing.
Yeah, unless a man takes on more than he can possibly do, he will never do all he possibly can.
Awesome, dude. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I look at that is I do not want to look back at the end of my life and say, I wish I would have done X.
Mm-hmm.
So like right now, I have a company, Avatar Nutrition. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have, yeah.
So that was an inception between myself and Mark Springer, who's the CEO. And then we brought Katie Coles in later. But, basically automated coaching, like an algorithm that does automated coaching. And let me tell you what, now, we went through a lot of crap with that. Like we've probably lost $250,000.
Wow.
That companies stole from us, that they didn't follow through. They literally scammed us, like when we were trying to build websites and that sort of thing. And here we are 2 years later, and our website's crushing it. I don't want to say how many members we've got because people will realize how good of an idea it is and they'll try to copy it more than they already have. But needless to say, we're into the thousands and thousands of members.
Good for you guys, man.
And the algorithm functions great, But I had to take time away from coaching to set all those things up. I had to sacrifice short-term income. And now, within the next 3 months, Avatar will be my major source of income.
Wow.
So we're adding about well over 500 users a week. So
wow.
It's kicking butt. But if I hadn't said, I don't want to take more time away from coaching because I'll make less money now, and that's going to be really hard. I don't know. I looked at it and said, you know what? Nobody's ever done this before. So, I like what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. He said, if nobody has done this before, it doesn't scare me. And I'll just be the first, That's how I look at it. Like, well, I'll just be the first. You know what? Because just because you haven't done it doesn't mean I can't do it.
I love it, Layne.
Somebody hasn't done it. I mean, somebody, everything that's ever been invented in this world or ever been put together or any great idea, they were, one, told they couldn't do it. It was a bad idea. And two, they questioned themselves and said, well, nobody's ever done this before. And most of them probably came to the conclusion and said, well, I'm different. So I believe I'm different, and that's why I push forward with it. So now it's kicking butt, and now people can say, oh, wow, you guys are so lucky. This is such a great idea. It's like, yeah, you didn't see when we launched it and it fell flat on its face, and when we got scammed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you didn't see when we were like crying on the phone to each other about how much this thing sucked and we hated it. Like you didn't see any of that. All you see now is it makes money and it was a great idea, and that's where the copycats come in. But that's okay. Like I tell people all the time, copy me, go for it, please. You're not gonna have the same passion as me. You're not gonna work at it like me. And if you do, if you beat me, then you beat me.
But that's why you're part of the 0.005% club, Layne, because you're out there and you're trying to innovate. You're trying to be creative. Have you heard of a guy named Peter Diamandis?
I have not.
He wrote a book called Abundance. He's a consultant. Like, I watched him on Genius Network. You know Joe Polish?
Mm-mm.
He has a network called Genius Network, and it's about entrepreneurs. Like, he brings in guys like Tony's come in, Peter came in, Tim Ferriss came in, Elon Musk came in from talking about stuff, all these guys. But Peter Diamandis had this video called Abundance. And I love what you just said, because he was talking about where the evolution of technology is going to, where things like, for example, Kodak, was making $28 billion back in 1996 on all their company. All of a sudden in 6 years later, 7 years later, they actually went bankrupt because they didn't go with the trend, right? Yeah. And then you look what you guys create, what you were innovators. That's exactly what Peter talked about.
You have got to stay ahead of the game. If you are keeping pace, you're falling behind. Like, I saw this coming, and I knew, like, as great as online coaching is now, we have thousands of online coaches. That industry it's not going to die. There's always going to be a place for personalized recommendations. But it's going to go through a cleansing. I can tell you that, because people are getting more information. They're starting to not want to just take people's advice. And if they can pay $10 a month and get great nutritional advice, they're going to take it. You know what I mean? So you better be damn good at what you do. And so what I've said is I'll be very happy if this puts a lot of really bad coaches out of business.
There you go.
As far as good coaches, I think they'll always have a job, because some people want that support. It's not so much about the knowledge. I mean, the knowledge is part of it, but they want that support and that accountability, right? So, I think that you've got to stay ahead. You've got to think forward, because look at Blockbuster. Who would have imagined 15 years ago Blockbuster would be extinct off the face of the planet by a company they could have bought? They could have bought Netflix. Netflix offered to sell to them for $1 million, and Blockbuster turned them down.
Mm-hmm.
Think they regret that decision? I mean, come on. So, cable companies are going to die within the next 5 to 10 years because people don't think about this. You watch probably what? If you watch on your TV, you're watching 5 channels mostly, right?
Maybe, yeah.
But each channel, they structure it so it's part of different packages, so you got to buy 100 channels, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is people are so sick of it, now they just buy Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu, and they say, forget you.
That's exactly it.
So imagine if you could just pay for high-speed internet, $50 a month for super high-speed internet, buy Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon for $10 a piece. That's $80 a month. You think people would be interested in that? Heck yeah, they would, because right now they're having to pay $150 a month to get the same darn thing, right?
Exactly.
So cable companies are going to have to adapt. If I owned a cable company, I'd be the first one to do this. I would be putting together a la carte packages. You can pick 10 channels. It will cost this much for 10 channels. You pick the 10 channels you want, right? Yep. And put it together just that way. Because what they do is they have a couple of good channels in each package, and then the rest are garbage. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's one of those things that if they don't do that, if they don't adapt, they're going to die. They are.
100%.
People they're not going to take it anymore. It's the same thing like newspapers. Yep. Newspapers didn't adapt fast enough. They're dead. They're dead in the water. You know what I mean? The good ones, the Huffington Post, in terms of the successful ones, they very quickly adapted to online. They put their stuff online. They said print's dying. People don't care about it anymore. The only people who care about it are people who are over 50 years old. Everybody else is just going to read it when they're checking their email in the morning, right? Yep. So, if you don't, and like with Avatar, we're going to look for other trends because if we don't adapt that, it will die too. The average life course for a business segment these days, for an actual industry, is like 5 years before it undergoes some kind of major revolutionary overhaul, right? Dr. Joe gives a great speech about this.
Yeah.
For your particular business, it's 3 years. You got 3 years to reinvent yourself for whatever you're doing. So if you're doing something, you got 3 years to do something else.
Totally.
In terms of figuring out a new way to do it or reinventing yourself. If you keep doing things the same way, you're going to be a dinosaur and the asteroid's coming.
I love the analogy. Thinking big and thinking outside of the box and reinventing and being innovative in your process for your business. Guys, this is totally off Layne Norton. Layne's usually talking about training and nutrition.
I like this stuff. This stuff is fun for me. But it's the same thing with science and training and nutrition. I never was willing to accept the status quo. Mm-hmm. Like people, you can't eat sugar and get in shape. Okay, well, why not? Well, I'm looking for all these studies that you guys talk about exist, and guess what? They don't exist. Yeah. There's associations between sugar and obesity, but when you actually look at does sugar cause obesity? That's it. It doesn't. Yeah. The data's not there to suggest it. So, I tell people, sure, you can have some sugar as long as you're eating enough fiber. And people look at me like my head just completely flipped. But that's, I just am not willing to accept the status quo. And I think that's a scientist's brain. A scientist is very skeptical. Neil deGrasse Tyson said something that I thought was brilliant. And he said the crux of any scientist is their fundamental job. The crux of their job is to question even beliefs, the most fundamental beliefs that we hold dear. It's question everything. So when somebody tells me something, my immediate response is not to be like, oh yeah, okay. My immediate response is to be like, I wonder if that's bullshit. Yeah. So it's, I have people tell me things all the time. Oh, well, this reduces inflammation. Okay. How? Okay. Is that mechanism shown in humans? Let me see the data, right? Okay, well, how do you know that's not just calorie restriction that's doing that? These people started exercising. How do you know it's not just exercise that did that? People don't think about these confounding variables. So, I always try to think outside the box and just question everything and think forward.
Have you always been like that, Layne, or has it been evolved over the years, as a coach and now as more like a business entrepreneur?
I think it evolved over the years. I think a lot of it was a confidence thing. It takes a lot of confidence to swim upstream, to go against the grain.
It does, yeah.
There is safety in numbers. You know what I mean? Like, if I've had clients tell me, like when I tell them not to cut water, they say, "Oh, I know it's right. I know it makes sense. It makes scientific sense not to cut it. But there's nobody else doing it. I just feel so alone. And so I just feel better if I cut it out." And it's like the whole, well, if everybody's jumping off the bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge?
Yeah.
You know? Like, but, there's safety in that, okay, I'm okay with doing the wrong thing as long as I'm with a group of people doing the wrong thing, right? So, yeah, that's just how I think about it.
Interesting. So now, do you find yourself right now more so moving away from doing coaching now and being more as an entrepreneur and growing in that area of, like, obviously Avatar is now your company. It's obviously taken off for you guys. So that's probably going to evolve over the next 2 to 3 years as you guys evolve. So do you find yourself, and you had Carbon, which you launched, I think last year, I think it was. So you're almost like evolving as an entrepreneur now, Layne, basically.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like, my problem is I look at anything. Like if I get sponsored or whatever, I'll look at something, I'll go like, I could do that better. I could do that better. I could do that. I mean, I'm launching a clothing line. That's going to be out in a couple months here. That's going to be called Apex Drive.
Okay.
Like it's not like we're going to try and blow it up. We're going to try and make it this big deal, and it was just I need to diversify, and I need branding, all those sorts of things. So it's like, why do I not have this? I should have had this 10 years ago. Like I've really been doing a really piss poor job of that. So, it's the more diverse you can be, the safer you are, in terms of your income. And I tell people this like all the time. We're like, oh man, I'd have so much trouble being an entrepreneur. Like I just like my safe job. I've got news for people out there. There is no such thing as a safe job. There is no safe job. We tried to hire somebody for Avatar to be our CIO, and they had a safe job at State Farm as they wrote algorithms, and they ended up not taking the job, and that's fine, but they love their safe job. State Farm tomorrow could say, "Oh wow, we don't have enough money to fund the rest of the year. 2,000 jobs gone."
Yeah.
Right? Restructure, whatever it is.
Yep.
I mean, bodybuilding.com just laid off like 15% of their employees,
Yeah.
You do not have a safe job. When you work for somebody else, your job safety is only as good as your boss's ability to get shit done.
Exactly.
Right? Like if your boss, because when you're an entrepreneur, you at least have some control. When you work for somebody else, you can do everything right. And if they screw stuff up, you're gone.
That's it, man. That's it.
So, yeah, I tell people I think I have the best job security in the world because I'm not going to fire me.
Exactly. You can't fire yourself unless you want to.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm always looking for different potential revenue streams and diversifying. It's just fun for me. Like but
Layne, if you could pick one thing out of all the things you do, what would you pick?
That's tough. Probably Avatar, because I believe that's the best potential to positively impact the world. Because I believe that we have a lot of things in the works. We're going to completely revolutionize the nutrition, dieting, fitness, the whole deal.
Yeah.
We're gonna change the whole deal. I mean, I can't disclose everything we've got going on, but I believe within 3 years we will have over 1 million members. And I believe within 5 years we'll have over 50 million.
Interesting.
So, I mean, obviously that's a bold statement. I believe we'll be the Facebook of the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Or actually just the Facebook. I believe that we'll change we'll impact it. And that's our goal. Our goal is not to make a certain amount of money. I mean, yes, I like money like anybody, right? Yeah. But if you saw the clothes I wear, the car I drive, you'd never know that, like you just wouldn't know. I'm not driving an Aston Martin. I'm not, wearing Armani or anything like that. Like I think this is, I don't even know what the hell this is.
It's a shirt.
Yeah, it's a shirt. I got some shorts from Target. I drive a Pathfinder, which is actually an upgrade for me.
Yeah.
Before that, before this past year, I drove a 2003 Oldsmobile Alero for my grad school car
There you go.
for 8 years and
Yeah.
was perfectly happy with that, So, yeah, I just, but I want to change the world. I want to be able to look back and look back on my life and be like, I made a really positive contribution to society, and I can confidently say I emptied the tank and left it all on the table, or left nothing on the table and left it all on the field.
Completely. That makes, that sort of drive and passion is what ignites not only me listening right now, Layne, but any of the listeners listening, but also the people that are watching your videos. Like when I see your videos, dude, you get on fire, you get going, you can tell that your psychology and your motivation is beyond just a coach or helping this one, over here or learning this one technique. It's far and beyond that, man, which is sort of rare in this industry because everyone's about themselves, right? Or a lot of people are about themselves and only about me. And I can tell whenever you're building what you're doing, not saying that you weren't, we all were in that place years ago, but the way you build things is very much towards impact.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm not about myself, because I am, because I like me and I want to take care of myself.
Of
but
course.
I believe that there's a way to do that while still helping others.
Of course.
I believe if you find what you were born to do, what the reason you were put on this earth to do, and I believe everybody has a purpose. It may change, it may evolve over time. I believe everybody came with a purpose.
Yep.
And most people don't find it,
Mm-hmm.
or they found it and they're too scared to pursue it. Not like what was it, Steve Jobs? He said a dream doesn't come up and smack you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
A dream whispers, comes from behind you. I know this is Steven Spielberg said this. He said it comes from behind you and it whispers in your ear. But if you're not listening, if you're too caught up in the people that say, "Oh, I'll do it when I graduate," or
Yep.
I'll go for this when the kids are grown up," or "I'll do this," you are not going to do it. It's not going to happen. What you're saying is you're not going to do it. Just say what you mean. You're not going to do it. I started my business full time while I was doing my PhD. What's your excuse?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was traveling. I was doing all these sorts of things. And I would do any podcast. It didn't matter how small it was. I'd do any interview. I would write for any website. And I don't do that anymore. But
Yeah.
If you've never seen me speak in person, ask people who've watched me speak in person. I'm very passionate. I'm very fired up. I dare you to put anybody up on the podium, up on the stage after me, and I'll make them look silly.
Yeah.
Not to sound rude. There's other great speakers out there, but I'll make them sound silly because I promise you they won't be as fired up as me.
Well, we're speaking together, Layne. I'm just.
Oh, well, maybe you'll make me look silly.
No, I'm just bugging you, man. I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy.
See, there's my overconfidence right there.
It's all good, man. But no, speaking of speaking, you're coming June 4th to Winnipeg, to Canada. And you're doing like a big thing on stage at the INBF event. You're doing a big seminar the next day, an 8-hour seminar at Fulton Athletic Center, which is going to be amazing. I know all the team there. We're all excited to have you, Layne. So tell us more about what you're going to talk about, what you're going to do at that event.
Yeah. So the day event, I'm going to be teaching the major lifts, which is a lot of what I do. I'll also do some like Q&A nutrition. Just kind of, it's more of a one-on-one thing.
Yeah.
But I'll do some nutrition talks. I'll do some training talks, and it's mostly just based around about like trying to get people to take a more evidence-based approach and given a practical application of science. Because usually what we see out there is you get a study and people don't know what the study actually means, right? That's why it's important to have people like me who can disseminate the information to others. Actually, there's a new publication coming out called Mass, which is by Dr. Mike Zordos, Greg Nuckols, and Eric Helms. It's great. It's basically a monthly research review, and it breaks down this high-level research into layman's terms, right? And so if you guys are interested in that, I just posted on my Facebook and my Instagram. But I'm going to try. I want to give people practical recommendations that are based in science that they can actually take and apply to themselves. And I think if you've never come to one of my camps where I instruct on lifting, I think you'd be shocked how much of a difference the technique tweaks will make in your lifts.
Interesting. Well, we're excited to have you. I'm looking forward to hearing, hearing all this information. I know your VIP camps. I think Corey and Joe have spoken at quite a few of them, and they always speak highly of your event, Layne. So it definitely, if VIP camps, are they still going on right now, Layne?
We're taking this year off just because we've had some logistical issues with it,
Okay.
but it's not going away forever.
Okay.
Part of it is I think people got a little bit spoiled with it. And so I want to take a year to create a little bit of scarcity.
Yeah.
And then bring it back in 2018 bigger and better than we've ever done it before. So
Nice. Is it a 1 day or 2 day?
that's a 3-day.
Oh, a 3 day. Okay.
I go all out for that. My costs on that up front are over $30,000. Like,
Wow.
it's expensive because I'm bringing in 12, 13, 14 really good speakers and experts.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. You know what I mean? Like, and nor should they be.
Yeah.
So, so it's an expensive camp. It's usually like $1,700 for 3 days, but the amount you're going to get out of that is going to be incredible.
I love it. Well, looking forward to hearing more about this.
I have never had anybody come to one of my camps and say, wow, that wasn't worth more than what I paid for it.
Interesting. Well, like I say, your camps look very, I'm going to say intense, but also there's that immersion piece where I think you pretty much have a full day event. It's 3 days. They're full days, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking out the door at 7 a.m., not back till 7 or 8 p.m.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Let's go into peak 5 questions there, Layne. The first one I'm going to ask you right now is, who is someone in your life who was a highly influential person that really impacted you?
My grandfather was one.
Okay.
For sure. My parents, obviously, but my grandfather was one. He was he's passed on now in 2005, but he was part of the greatest generation, World War II, tough guy, but a heart of gold, and just, a really, just taught me a lot about life, know, and I always admired him a great deal. And I think he just influenced me with his approach to life. He said he had his first heart attack at age 52 in the 70s, when heart surgery was like carpentry, and they gave him 5 years to live. He lived to be 84.
Wow.
And he said, I wake up every day, I check the obituary section, and if I'm not in the obituary section, I figure I'm good for another day.
What about a mentor in the personal development or like that self-growth world? Was anybody like an influence to you, or a mentor that you read a lot or you learned from?
Self-growth.
Because everyone knows you're training. I'm going totally off course for you.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of motivational speeches.
Okay.
I listen to Les Brown, Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this is stuff I already know just from my own experience.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Ramsey is another one. I like Dave Ramsey, his financial advice. Watching what Joe did with his business was inspiring for me. But I kind of, it's going to sound maybe a little bit arrogant, but I kind of draw inspiration from my own stuff in terms of, okay, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very logical person.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's a choice. If I want to do X, that means I can't do Y.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, if I want Avatar to make it, I have to take on less clients. It means less money. If I want to, get this new workout builder on my site launched, it means I'm not playing video games tonight or for the next, 6 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, if I want to do this other thing, it means I'm not playing fantasy football this year, like you can't have it all. So I want to, I'd rather get that stuff done, create these passive revenue streams and be making enough income as well that, I can back off on the workload, in my late 30s, early 40s and actually enjoy life a little bit. And
totally,
while I'm still young and healthy and really can live it to its fullest. And, because most people, they retire when their bodies start breaking down and, it's just not as fun.
Totally makes sense. Number 2, Layne, if there was one book that was highly influential in your life that gave you the biggest impact, what would that book be for you?
Probably. I think the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey was actually pretty impactful. Just his basic advice, but it gave me a different way of looking at finances in terms of, like, I like what he said of change your family tree,
Mm-hmm.
that you have the ability to change everything,
Yep.
make everything better. So, yeah, I really like that concept of changing your family tree.
It was, what's the book called again?
The Total Money Makeover
By David Ramsey.
by Dave Ramsey. Yeah.
Excellent. Number 3, what was your most influential quote? I'm pretty certain I know what this is going to be. So what is that quote?
Yeah, the one I sent to you, and then my other one was from Les Brown, and I really like what he said. And he said, "Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality."
Love that.
That's that really. Another one was, "If there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm."
I like that.
That's I've always tried to think of it that way.
If you could tell your 20-year-old self 15 years ago, because you're 35, one lesson, what would that lesson be?
Stop trying to worry about the opinions of others. What
Nice.
you think here matters more than anything else. And here, trust your instincts.
Go for it. Yeah.
And don't. There's going to be people who are going to tell you can't do certain things. There's going to be people who are going to hurt you. There's going to be all this stuff, but just go for it. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess stuff up, and it'll end up being the best thing that ever happened to you. The stuff you messed up, the stuff I messed up needed to happen. People don't understand this. The stuff I screwed up, if you're out there, you're an entrepreneur, anything to do with life, the stuff I messed up was absolutely 100% completely critical for my success, and I would not be here where I am in this position today if I had not screwed up those things. So stop worrying about making mistakes. I'm not saying go out and make purposeful mistakes. I'm saying try your best to get it right, but when you get it wrong, you either win or you learn. That's it.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. That's really good. Like, even going back to when we talked in the interview about when you were creating Avatar, your company for nutrition, and all of a sudden you had that $250,000 that you guys put, and some was taken away. All this stuff was happening, right?
And we lost 4 months of development time.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So what's the psychology shift for you? Like, are you just so committed to that goal that there's no, I don't care what, if the world ends, I'll make it happen. Like, is that the psychology you think, your commitment level of making that happen when things happen that aren't good?
I'll give it up when I'm dead.
There you go.
If I'm not dead, so the worst, you're already naked. Steve Jobs said this, you're already naked because the worst thing in life is going to happen to you. You are going to die. But if you aren't dead yet, you've got options, right?
Yeah.
So we could have taken the option of, this just isn't going to work out. We've had all these people screw us over. Woe is us, this and that. Read about any successful company, and we had all kinds of infighting in our company and like personal, stress and all that kind of stuff. All of us, like, we'll write a book one day about it when we're, all that stuff, like Microsoft, Apple, all these companies, all of them had these things. The companies that win are the companies that do not let it cause them to be destroyed. That's it. That's how it works. Okay. Yeah. Success is a battle of attrition, but you got to stay in the fight, So but that's why it's important for you to be 100% passionate about this thing. Whatever you're doing, you'll be 100% passionate about it. Because if you aren't, if you're 99%, you're going to give yourself a way out. You're going to give yourself a way out. And when you have a way out, when it gets hard, you're going to take it. Okay. So you gotta find it. Whatever it is, you gotta find it.
Where did you get that from? Has that always been in your DNA since you were a kid?
No. It was developed. I was always pretty tenacious.
Yeah.
But I had failure hit me, and I let it feel like it was destruction. But I failed often enough, small enough, and early enough that I learned that failure was not an ending. It was
Right.
just another beginning, right? And so I looked, instead of looking at, oh my, like, yes, I had my bad days because that was also a time of personal stress for me. I had my really bad days with Avatar, but I looked at it, I kind of went back, I said, okay, we don't owe anybody any money.
Mm-hmm.
I still have good cash flow. We had all these other companies copying us, but they weren't on our level yet. We're still in the driver's seat with this thing. And they're going to have their own problems.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, let's just double down and go hard, right? And since then, since January, our membership is up threefold.
Wow. Congratulations, Layne.
January's
That's great, man.
January's the month where we said, that's it. We're dead in the water.
Your
Yeah.
story sounds like Elon Musk's story. Have you ever heard of his story?
No, I
when
don't really look into much. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, your story is like his challenge when he was building electric cars and solar panels. Man, it's cool kind of listening. I'm thinking of the Elon Musk kind of collaboration here because you guys are big thinkers.
Well, I mean, we're basically a technology company.
Yeah.
I'm a nutritional scientist, but everything's programmed and algorithms. And I mean, we're just getting our first office, and we're going to have a room that's just for development. We're going to have like 5 or 6 full-time developers working on this thing. So, yeah, try to copy us, guys. I see you. Good luck. Good luck.
There's the challenge, guys.
Yeah, but it was something I learned over time that most people experience failure. Everyone experiences failure, but most people, when they experience that is a reason for them to say, well, this wasn't for me. And listen, because people have asked me, like, when is it time to quit? Like, how do you know when to quit something? And I would say when you're not passionate about it.
Right.
If you're not passionate about it, that you got to be honest with yourself, and that's when it's, maybe you were passionate about this thing at one time, and then things changed or whatever.
Has it happened to you, Layne? Has it happened to you in your life where you started a project and you just quit it because you weren't passionate about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, I'll give an example. Like, I was all in for marine biology when I was young. I wanted to be a marine biologist. I wanted to study sharks. I love sharks all the way up until about age 17. And that's when I discovered bodybuilding, and that kind of took hold. And but I still love sharks. But, I kind of was just like, and I wasn't as, and I'm like, I was going to go to school for it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just go for a general degree, like biochemistry. Let's do that first and figure out which I'm more passionate about by the end. And by the end, it was bodybuilding by far. So, like, if I'd gone for marine science, when it started getting hard and I wasn't enjoying it, or if I wasn't enjoying it as much, I would have given myself a way out, So you got to find that thing that you're 100% in with, that's the Wright brothers, they invented the plane, right? They invented flight. This is secondhand story. I've heard it before, so I may get a few details wrong, but the overall arch will be there. They had no government funding. They were high school graduates. They did not go to college. And they were basically like putting together bicycle parts and all random kind of stuff, right? They were up against a guy who was a graduate, I believe, of MIT, he wanted to become famous. That was his reason for wanting to. Simon Sinek talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
That was his reason he wanted to be famous and rich, right? Mm-hmm. And he had a $50,000 grant from the government. Think about what $50,000 was back in 1903.
Wow.
That's millions and millions of dollars, right? And he had a whole team of the brightest engineers that also just wanted to make money, right? When the Wright brothers got there first, that guy, I forget his name, quit the next day.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy man.
He didn't invent it, right? Whereas if he was truly passionate about it, he could have said, okay, they got it. That's fine. They were first, but that doesn't mean I can't make it better, right?
Right.
Think about it. Like, there's plenty of stuff where people don't remember the first person who did it. They remember the item. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but he wasn't passionate about it. That's not what he wanted to be famous. He had the wrong motivation. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't like being, like, I guess, famous in the fitness industry or attention or anything like that, because I'd be lying to you. But that wasn't my purpose. That wasn't my driver. You know, my driver was to make a big change, to make a positive impact. And because that was my driver, I got well known. Right. If your driver is just to be well known, you are trying to put the cart before the horse, and it's going to flip on you.
Yeah. That's great advice, Layne. That is actually probably a golden nugget for so many people listening to the show right now, to hear that from someone like yourself who's built a very prolific name in the industry, and the following you have, and not that you were focused on the wrong, you were all focused on the impact, which is huge. So that's huge. A question for you. If there were no limits to what you could contribute to in the world, I mean, no, I don't mean a charity, I mean just in general, okay, if there were no limits, what would you contribute to? Would it be what you're doing right now, or would it be bigger than that?
I think it'd be what I'm doing right now. I mean, in terms of we want to fix the obesity crisis.
Yeah.
And we actually have a plan to do it.
Yeah.
We actually have a plan. All these studies say you need to make diet a lifestyle. It has to be available for people, blah, 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 blah. And nobody comes up with any ideas about how to actually do any of that stuff. We have a plan, and we just got to execute it.
I love it, man. What else you want to add? Do you have any more questions, things you want to add in here, Layne, for the interview?
No, I think this was good. I like it.
It was not your traditional nutrition training element, eh? A little bit different.
No, I like it. I like talking about entrepreneur stuff. You should have the CEO of Avatar on sometime.
Let's do it.
Mark Springer. He'd be really good. You'd like him.
Let's bring him on.
Outside the he really shouldn't be called CEO, but we don't really know what to call him. He's like the think tank. Comes up with the ideas. He's very creative, you know.
He's like the thinker and the creator, and you guys probably, you know, but that's nice. Actually, here's one question for you. I want to ask this question to you, because I'm also an entrepreneur with 2 different businesses, and I really like your philosophy of your team, all that kind of stuff. How important is team to you, Layne? So when you find those people in your business, like, you probably had partners before that were shitty, you know, excuse my language, but they weren't that great. They wanted the wrong things or whatever. So when you find those people, what do you look for, and like, how important is it?
I want somebody who basically says, I'm willing to do whatever the hell it takes to get it done.
I like that.
Not how many hours do I have to work? Not, you know, what's my pay? The people I've hired in my life to work for me, all of them offered to do their jobs for free.
Wow.
It is almost a requirement now to work for BioLane LLC that you have to offer to do it for free. I won't let you do it for free, but you got to offer. Right? Now I'm going to get 50 emails. Like,
yeah, you will.
You know, like, you got to be passionate about what you do. You got to believe in the mission. If your first question is, what time do I got to show up? What time do I got to leave? What's my holiday? What are my benefits? Then I'm sorry, I'm not interested. You know? Like, and that's fine. I'm not saying you're a bad person for asking about any of that, but I want somebody who says, I believe in what you're doing and I want to be part of it. I'll do whatever it takes to be part of it. I'll go get your coffee. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Like, Les Brown told the story of he wanted to be a DJ, and he had this high school teacher he looked up to, Mr. Washington, and Mr. Washington told him, you need to go start practicing being a DJ every single day. And he said, but I don't have a job. He said, it doesn't matter. It's better to have an opportunity, and it's better to not have an opportunity and be prepared than to. Oh, you lose me there for a second?
We got you back, man. You're good now.
Okay. Where did I leave off? The Les Brown story?
Les Brown story. You got the quote down, and that's where you cut.
Yeah, so he said it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So he started working every day. And he went to this place on Miami Beach, and he said, hi, this guy, the guy's name was Mr. Butterball. He said, I'd like to know if you have any jobs. He said, well, do you have any broadcast experience? No. Do you have any journalism experience? No. We don't have any jobs. I came back the next day. Hey, Mr. Butterball, do you have any jobs? He said, didn't you come here yesterday? He said, well, yeah, but I don't know if anybody got, laid off or fired. He said, no, we don't have any jobs. And he threw me out again. I came back the next day. I said, do you got any jobs? He said, didn't I just tell you we had no jobs? He said, well, I know somebody got sick or died, So he said, get out of here. I came back the fourth day, and I said, hey, have you got any jobs? And he looked at me with rage and said, go get me some coffee. So
That's a good story.
He just started out by driving people around town, like the artists and entertainers that came in. And then he would get the lunch for the DJs, and he would go into the DJ studio, and he'd stay there until they made him leave, and he'd make them show them all different things. Like, if you want to do something, find somebody who's doing it and learn from them.
Totally.
You know? Like, yeah. If I had to tell a young person right now who wanted to do what I did, go harass me until I won't leave you alone until I can't.
Knock on your every day.
Yeah, like, the worst. My father used to say that. My father's in sales, right?
Yeah.
And I was very unconfident when I was young, and I would always be like I'd really like hand wring about asking a girl on a date. I'd be so nervous, And he'd be like, "What are you worried about?" And I'm like, "Well, what if she says no?" He's like, "If she says no, you're in the same position you're in right now."
That's all it is.
But what if there's a 1% chance he says yes? Then you're going on a date with this hot chick. Like, come on, Layne, this is easy math. Like, you're not losing anything,
Totally, man. Yeah.
But it's the ego hit, right? That's what it is. So, yeah, it's Dad was right, because Dad had to learn how to do cold calls. He sells pressure-sensitive labels, He had to get used to cold calling. And he's like, that's the most awkward and uncomfortable thing. You're basically walking up to somebody's door and trying to sell them something,
Yeah.
But if you can do that, you can do anything.
Wow, that's gold mine, man. This interview we've covered everything. This is awesome, man. Entrepreneurship, motivation, good storytelling.
By the way, I do offer small business consultations out there for anybody who's interested. So
okay, good.
I've already done probably half dozen of them, and I've really enjoyed them. So you can inquire through my site, biolayne.com, but I do offer small business consultations for people in the fitness industry.
Fantastic, man. Well, there you go, guys. Layne, and guys, check them out. June 4th in Winnipeg, guys. Get your tickets to Full Sail Athletic Center. Layne will be coming down to the INBF show. I'll be co-emceeing. He'll be actually co-emceeing with me, and I'll be with Layne. We'll be doing the show, the INBF show on the Saturday. Plus, he'll be running his big 8-hour power camp on Sunday at Full Sail. Guys, going to be absolutely epic. Look at those biceps, guys. Come on, the peaks of glory over there. So Layne, stick on here, buddy, for one more second here. I'm going to cut here pretty soon. But it was really great having you on here, Layne. Truly a pleasure learning from you, listening to your stories, and getting inspired by you, by Layne. Thank you, Layne.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, buddy, just 1 second here. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for the interview, buddy. That was great.
You're welcome, man. You liked it?
I love it. I love the energy you bring. I love the passion you bring. Dude, I could talk to you for 3 hours, man. I love entrepreneur discussions. Oh, books and reading and learning and freaking all that stuff. It just gets me jacked. So I really appreciate that.
No worries, man. I appreciate it, buddy. I've actually got to go on a small business phone consult now. So, I think people, hopefully they'll take advantage of that, because that's fun for me.
Hey, Layne, do you mind doing a quick 30-second spiel so I can promote our episode on social media?
Sure.
For my camera, I'm actually going to use more of a real time where you're on here, and I'll basically get my phone. So what we'll do is I'm just going to take it off volume here. Can you still hear me okay?
Yep.
Good. It's going to make, we're good here too. So what we'll do is something to the effect of, hey, it's Layne here on the Peak Mind Show with Matt Park. Had an amazing interview. I'm excited about the interview coming out here, talking about more about entrepreneurship, whatever you want to really talk about in that, in those 45 seconds. Check it out, guys, coming on. Actually, the interview is coming on here in about 2 weeks before the June 4th event. Have an incredible day. Something like that. Whatever you feel inspired to do so.
Okay, say that last part again. Sorry.
Sure. So something like, hey, it's Layne Norton here, BioLayne with the Peak Mindset Show, and amazing with Matt Park today. We talked about entrepreneurship, thinking big, really going for your dreams in business and in life. It's going to be an awesome interview, guys. Check it out in about 2 weeks, coming on live here, and also be coming to Winnipeg, June 4th, guys. Come check that out very soon. Have an incredible day, guys. Talk to you soon.
Cool. Ready?
1 second. I'm just getting my phone ready, buddy. Going to turn you up. Yep.
Hey guys, just finished up an awesome interview with Peak Mindset with Matt. We had a great interview. Very little training, nutrition, knowledge drop, but a lot of small business, entrepreneurship, just life go for your dreams. And not just that, not just the typical rah-rah stuff, but actually giving you actionable stuff to do, actually talking about the steps to take to get to wherever you want to go, and talking about the most important things for accomplishing your dreams. So make sure you check it out here in about 2 weeks on Peak Mindset. Also, I'll be in Winnipeg at the INBF show. Make sure you show up and check that out, and check out my camp and seminars I'm running the day after that. So I really look forward to meeting a lot of you guys, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
Excellent, man. That was great.
Perfect.
You're a great talker, Layne.
That's one thing I can do.
You can use those words well.
That's right, buddy. All right, partner. Have a good day, all right?
But take care, Layne. All the best, man.
All right, Matt. Take care.
You too, bro.